to the return of the book report reading series with your hosts, Sasha Fletcher
and Leigh Stein.
Hi.
So every month at the book report, what is this? I'm like crooning.
Yeah, you're crooning in a Hollywood. It's great. It's teamwork.
Every month at the book report, we don't do normal biographies for our writers because that's overdone. We do special bios, but Sasha has written...
Also, no one cares.
Sasha has written a surprise special bio for me that I'm not allowed to see, and since I'm the first reader, he's hiding that piece of paper from me. But I'll let Sasha tell you what the book report is about.
And it will also be the key to the theme. The book report reading series is the middle child of the Grantham family. The book report reading series is not as useful as its younger sister Sybil, who ended up becoming a nurse and marrying an Irishman after failing at becoming a suffragette, nor as pretty as her older sister Mary, who killed a handsome Turkish guy with her butt while he had butt sex with her, and who the book report reading series kind of tried to get killed by Turks. Later, the book report reading series learned how to drive a car, tried to have sex with a married farm man on his farm while driving his tractor for him, let a guy pretend to be her dead cousin she was in love with, and then decided she wanted to marry an older man because everyone else was married and she was lonely, even though the true key to happiness is self-love and not having googly eyes. And now, without further ado, our first reader. Leigh Stein is the head housekeeper in charge of all the servants and is a totally decent person who is sometimes fallible, but basically, let's face it, what is not to love about her? Even when that weird guy who may have been a drunk or a farmer, I'm not sure, tried to marry her, she was real cool about it. Although it should be said that she was not cool with that girl who decided to fuck an army guy and got pregnant because she was all, girl, that is a bad idea, but the girl was all, whatevs, old lady, and then the girl was all, oh shit, and Leigh Stein totally took care of her because she is such a good and kind person. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Leigh Stein.
My cord actually works tonight, so I'm excited. I forgot to write a title for this book report, which was also my problem in college. I forgot to write titles. That's okay. If poets were like pop stars, the #1 hit I would ride all the way to the bank is a poem I wrote in 2007, told in the form of diary entries by a character on the Oregon Trail, the computer game. I have read this poem so many times, at bookstores and bars and Bushwick apartments, that now, whenever I give a reading, my boyfriend feels he has to check. Are you going to read the Oregon Trail poem? Basically, he is like Gwyneth Paltrow asking me, the lead singer of Coldplay, whether The Scientist is on my set list for tonight's show at Madison Square Garden, because that is my favorite Coldplay song. According to an article in City Pages, Minnesota's Alt Weekly, the Oregon Trail game has sold over 65 million copies worldwide. And in 2006, 45% of parents with young children knew of the game, even though it had largely disappeared from the market in the late 90s. In 1971, the original game was coded on a teletype machine, a screenless typewriter connected by telephone to a mainframe computer. Without a monitor, the original version was played by answering prompts that printed out on a roll of paper. For example, do you want to eat 1, poorly, 2, moderately, or 3, well? Students typed in their numerical response, and then the program chugged through a few basic formulas and spat out the next prompt, along with a status update. Bad illness, medicine used, it might say. Do you want to, 1, hunt, or 2, continue? Hunting required the greatest stretch of the user's imagination. Instead of a point-and-shoot game, the teletype wrote back, type, bang. If the user typed it in accurately and quickly enough, the hunter bagged his quarry. Nice shot, the program answered. Right through the neck. Feast tonight. In my poem, the narrator describes in her diary how she sent her son John out to shoot a buffalo, but he said they all looked so peaceful he couldn't bring himself to do it. Figures, we'll all be dead soon enough. My Midwestern mother, or mom in the vernacular, finds my poems to be almost unbearably morbid. After she finished reading my book, she called to give me her verdict. I liked it more than I thought I would, she said. Her answer Scotch-Irish homesteaders who settled in Kansas in the 19th century. They couldn't have had it very easy, as I have learned from reading a book called Women of the West, which I will pass around. Thank you. It's a collection of diaries, letters, and autobiographical narratives by pioneers, such as Miriam Davis Colt, the 12th of 17 children in a poor New York City family who moved to an, quote, experimental vegetarian settlement colony, unquote, in Kansas with her husband. When they got there, her husband found 2 wooden boards and told her, "Miriam, you may make your bed on the smooth surface of these 2 boards." But she insisted he take the bed because he worked the hardest, and she and the children took the floor. Within months, she lost her entire family to malaria. True story. Women who lived on the frontier lived in fear of a number of things: of being alone at night, of animals, of Indians, of vagrant men displaced by the Civil War or turned out of work in the mines. As the editors of this book write, much of their fear came from their inability to read their environment with any accuracy. For some women, their fears became a continued state of panic, leading to melancholia, an extreme depression so common that scholars today have tried to determine if it was due to a fatty diet high in salt pork, fried beef, eggs, milk, and butter, or if trace mercury found in wells dug in the mining areas might have triggered the erratic behavior of many. Women like Mrs. Arthur Cohen, who lived in Montana, or, as she tells it, 40 miles from civilization where nobody lives and dogs bark at strangers, kept a diary filled with entries such as these. Cold day. Sid went to look for poison coyotes, came back nearly froze. Cold, windy day, 24 below zero, fed the sheep, very lonesome. Dark, dreary day, and the snow is flying. Blustering this morning. Fed the sheep and then took them out on the hills. This is a long, lonely winter. 10 degrees below zero this morning. Have been very downhearted today and have a very, very bad headache. My heart is very lonely and sad to have no one to sympathize with me. I must bear all my troubles alone. Men are working at lambing. Oh, I feel so lonely, so sad and discontented. The same old routine over again. Running after sheep again all day. This hardly seems like living. Not to belittle the real pain of Mrs. Cohen, but take out the descriptions of the weather and the sheep, and this reads like my own diary when I was 13. Or like the poems I wrote at 14 when I discovered Sylvia Plath. Were we mercury poisoned? Too much salt pork? I've been obsessed with death now for more than half my life, and perhaps this is what made the Oregon Trail game so exciting to me as a child. It was never win or lose, but live or die. I never wanted to play princess or bride when my girlfriends and I dressed up. I begged them to join me in pretending we were child laborers in a textile factory, or third-class passengers on the Titanic as the water was rising. It's not that I wanted to stage my own injury or death. I just wanted to test out life's riskiness in the safe space of make-believe, imagine a tragedy, practice tenacity. When I read these pioneer diaries, I find the same life or death odds that can be found in the work of my favorite poets. They're all trying to answer the same questions. Why are we here, in this life and not that one? And when things get bad, why do we go on living? Thank you.